So the question of the week was, what recent lesson did you learn at Burning Man or anywhere else? And the archive of this afternoon's lessons that I was processing will go online soon, but here are some of the ones shared by people online. Michael Lohman said, never bring anything to the playa you can't afford to lose. Unfortunately, this sometimes means friendships. Whew. Teresa Ray said, just let go. May it be assumptions, time frames, negativity, hurt, hesitation, technological attachments, etc. I tried to let each day unfold on its own free will. Very liberating. Jessica Carlotta said, I need to be more forgiving of people for being selfish and focus more on my own sense of fulfillment through service. Wow, that's big and good. All right. Chad Dickerson said, the powers that be depend on belief for their power, and until belief is completely extinguished, we will all suffer the slave system they have built around and upon the backs of believers. Whew, that's heavy. Yvonne said, I judged someone at Burning Man on the basis of my own ego and insecurity. I later found out that I was wrong, and I felt like a total asshole. Glad I learned the lesson. It could have happened anywhere, but the fact that it happened at Burning Man made it all the more significant. I opened my heart to this person and made a beautiful friend. Zach Walker said, have or set intentions before entering a mind-altering state. Goose said, I learned to not have expectations. I went to Burning Man thinking it would be a certain way, and I ended up having a horrible time until the last 2 days, and I finally let go and had the time of my life. Bam. Leonardo said, let go. And when you are done letting go, let go of letting go too. Nice. Greg Rasmussen said, I learned that I can't get stuck into thinking that I need Burning Man to have something amazing happen. Amazing things happen all the time. I just need to seek it. Yes! Swami Putanatin said, allow nothing to exist. Saki Ivy said, I had my best burn yet, and I believe it was due to setting some really clear intentions for myself. I wanted to connect, share, participate, stay mostly sober, follow the path, feel the love. The hardest lesson I was gifted through my experience was to stop taking care of everyone around me to the point where I burned myself out. See a theme here in surrender and letting go? Arnold said, don't dwell on things out of your control. Sarah Gurka said, so many lessons learned, but my favorite was realizing just how easy it is to bring the spirit and principles back to the default world. Zach said, do whatever it takes to stay present, so when an opportunity for cosmic lesson presents itself, you have the ability to recognize it. Man, these are such good... Ugh, we should make a book out of these. Wayne said, I was very abruptly reminded the day after I left Burning Man that no matter how good or how bad a patch of life can be, it can be switched in a mere moment. Berenice said, opening my mind and letting go of all judgment was easier than I would have imagined. Everyone was so welcoming and full of love. Every hug I received changed me a little for the better. I look forward to more spiritual growth. Merle Zimmerman said, every moment is full of countless treasures, but as long as we focus on our own goals and dreams and chase them without fail, all the things we didn't participate in or pursue don't matter, because each of us are individually being a part of what makes the world so great together. Amy Little said, at my 7th burn, I learned that one can still have so many first-time experiences. I made a list of about 25 things I did for the first time this year, including having a playa boyfriend, going out to the trash fence, and finding a camp that spoke to my pink heart. Kath Donner said, don't be afraid to drop to the depths and burn yourself down, because usually what rises is stronger than before. William Green said, don't eat a cold In-N-Out burger on the way into Burning Man. It can cause problems with your insides and mess with your burn. I would argue that even a warm In-N-Out burger could mess with your insides, but that's the righteous vegan in me. Actually, not a vegan, righteous vegetarian. Venetia Petrova said, attempts to keep all together and forgive and move on are a crossroad. The lesson, act whenever comes the right time for the right action, and vice versa. Fabian said, no matter what stands in your way, there's at least one way to follow your dream. It may not be the fastest, but the one that makes you reach your destination. Oh, I love that! Eric Ferris said, I was reminded of something I already knew but had forgotten of late, that one's self and one's path need occasional assessment and recalibration in order to maintain a harmonious balance. That's why we have Hug Nation. Brant said, bring more toilet paper than you think you'll need. Janelle said, the most important lesson I've learned lately is I don't have to believe every thought that comes into my mind. That when I question my thoughts, I can align with love, not ego, and become my true, divine, extraordinary self. When your thought becomes loving, so will your life. Wow. Carpo said, I learned that I'm ready to share Burning Man with my 10-year-old daughter. I can't explain the excitement I have for seeing her in a place where she will be encouraged to be 100% who she is and where creativity is totally unconstrained. Wow. Wade said, my lesson was to slow down. The bumps in the road, physically and metaphorically, are much easier to handle when you're not going at ludicrous speeds. Isabella said, I learned that there is no such thing as too many people having an orgy in a cramped tent, and that people will hear you having orgasms and ask to join you from outside your already too cramped tent. I learned it is okay to walk away from an orgy in my own tent when I feel the desire to scream from an art car in deep playa. Bravo. Ivy said, don't try so hard to create friendships. There are other people out there who will actually appreciate me and the love I have to give. Also, I really am a leader. I just need to surrender my need for control. Ooh, that's good. Sarabella said, I learned that I can love everyone and everyone can love me just the way I am. These are so good. And Jeanette said, I learned that I don't have to always rely on myself for everything. That there are people who love me and want to give me the gift of assistance. Tough pill to swallow, but I'm trying to bring that in the default world slowly but surely. Sean Shine said that the universe gave me a very clear reminder or sign that helped me find peace with a letter I recently received from my dad. I had been stressing, worrying, and really pushing for an answer, but was reminded by not-so-funny divine humor that I simply need to give problems time and space and let the answers come naturally. Christina McAllister said to let go of worrying about things that aren't mine to address and that I have no control over. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Patrick King said, wasn't it the burn? Nonetheless learned my heart can still be broken, but I'm certainly not afraid of such things. Walls do humans not nearly as much as good as openness. Kevin L. said, I learned that actually carrying a watch with an alarm isn't a bad thing. I missed a couple of events because I wasn't watching the time. I know, playa time, who cares? I care when I miss something I really want to see. Samaj said, seeing life in a different view than I ever have before. Being that it was my first time, it was an overload of emotion and sights, and the lesson I got was life is what you make it, and you get out of it what you put into it. Nice. Ruby Arringdale said, sometimes you find a whole other level of bliss in parting from everyone and doing your own thing in solitude. Myrtle Landis said, this year, I felt especially challenged by immediacy and impermanence. I wasn't doing the bestest job of being present in the moment. Temple of Juno burning brought forth my difficulty with letting go and welcoming change. Shelley said, take time for self-care every day. Allie and Brian said, the lesson that my capacity to open to share more love is deeper than I ever imagined, limitless. The joy and happiness experiences also show me a deeper understanding of sadness when I left the playa. Still integrating, and it is beautiful. Joe Beal said, one of 100 things I got from my burn. Thank you, John, for stepping up the task at hand and keeping Grandpa alive in your heart and all of ours. Those that never got to meet him get to see a little piece of him because of you. When I came home to no job and already being on disability, I decided no better time than now to devote my life to loving others because of you and Grandpa. Not sure what this looks like, but brother, let's love the world. I'm ready for whatever. Mog Sheridan said, I learned things about priorities and balance. Next year, planning will allow for more fun at camp work, more time at playa play, and perhaps even fewer emotional meltdowns. Man. The short answer of what I talked about this afternoon is the big lesson that I learned this year was that I'm ready to step into a deeper role, a deeper spiritual role in my life and in the world. And that it's a scary thing, but that's what my time for that is now. Kristen shared, I learned to surrender completely to love for the first time in my life. My goodness! Have you been listening to these things? The surrender, the letting go, the love, the service. Wow! We get it! Oh, now we just need to practice and recalibrate and try if we can to get together on Tuesdays or whenever and watch archives and find books and make sticky notes and keep coming back, because the world is going to do everything it can to pull you out of this so important understanding. So, man, I am inspired! Let's have a Hug Nation hug. Wherever you are, grab yourself by the shoulders. And as we anchor to this physical body, we also let go of the anchor to this time and space. We let go of the anchor to our ego, our identity, our personality. We embrace our core, the vibrant light inside us. And as we embrace it, we embrace the vibrant light source inside of all of our brothers and sisters. Without the surface, without the crust, without the personalities and labels and ego identity, we're just one. We're just many expressions of a single, perfect, divine source. Just for a few moments we can sink into that place. Forgive ourselves for forgetting that. Forgive others for forgetting it. Living in a place of opposition or anger. Just for a few moments we can stay in this embrace, in this oneness, recognizing that we are simply a representation of that one. But we are that one. We must be grateful for everyone that reflects duality, light and darkness to us, so that we may further appreciate the joy, the love, so that we can light up that love and joy and spread it in the world. Not from a place of planning, not from a place of fixing, but from a place of being true to that light that's shining from inside us. Simply taking the next step, the next choice, the next action, and aligning it with integrity, with the present moment, and with love. And the world will have no choice but to feel and receive and ripple out from that place. Let's take 3 breaths together, breathing from that vibrant source of light. On behalf of Grandpa Caleb and all the love warriors, happy Hug Nation. Thank you for being here, for walking your walk, for letting your light shine. I love you. Namaste.